Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you guys for joining the 980s podcast hosted by yours truly, Kevin Thompson, founder and CEO of 9i Capital Group. Thank you guys for joining us. As I always say, subscribe to this channel. As I always say, go and get my book, MLB to CFP, live on Apple and Amazon. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email us at info@9icapitalgroup.com. Send us your questions, or you can go to the website at www.9icapitalgroup.com. Schedule an appointment. As you know, we're here to do what? Educate, empower, and engage. And today we're talking to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Tyrone Ross Jr. We're talking about crypto. We're talking about Wall Street shedding DEI. We're talking about a whole plethora of topics. Today, I welcome you, 401 Financial CEO, Mr. Tyrone Ross Jr. Let's get it. I have my man Tyrone Ross Jr. on the call today, CEO, co-founder of Turnkey Labs, and CEO of 401 Financial. Hey, before we get started, where's my money tree? Is my money tree back in the background right there, man?
Which way is it? I gotta go the other way. It is.
There's a money tree. There's a money tree. Hey, Tyrone, what's going on, my friend?
A whole lot, man. Exciting to chat. There's a lot going on in my world, the crypto world, all the worlds that we play in. But before we get started, I know we were talking about this prior, man. I'm proud of you, happy for you that you are leaning into your purpose, and that is getting noticed. You are killing the LinkedIn game, and being at this a long time, and I know you know as well. We need more people like you in our space. So, I'm watching, I'm following, I'm cheering, and it's just awesome to see, man. So keep going.
Man, you make a tear come down my face. I need that right now, man. It's not about me, it's about you today. But thank you so much for the love and appreciate it. And I appreciate all the followers. I'm going to tell you this about you real quick, because you may be the fastest guest we've ever had in regards to foot speed.
Yes.
But you're not the fastest person that's ever been on this podcast. And read between those lines, my friend. Read between those lines.
Okay. No,
man, but hey, thank you for joining us today. I just have some questions because I know we're talking about crypto. I know you probably get tired of hearing about it. I mean,
right.
A couple of weeks ago, I was on LinkedIn and you said, guys, I know Bitcoin has been rallying. This is great to see, but don't you even think about, seeing a significant push higher with institutions until we get to that resistance level of 69,000.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, talk about prescient, talk about like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing, man. So tell me about what made you even see something like that far out in the future? And then kind of tell me about your ideas around that.
Yeah, and thank you for that. And I always tell people it's not too many marbles up here, but the ones I got work very well. And so it was a couple of things. One, being in the space for almost 11 years now, right? I've gone through a bunch of these, and the old high was just a level where, again, there was just going to be a lot of resistance, and it wasn't going to be until we got through that anyone outside the space, especially in institutions and financial media, weren't really going to care, right? Yeah. And studies have shown even in traditional markets, right? You break new highs, you're probably more than likely to hit higher highs. And with crypto, with the way the momentum is, and the velocity and the ETFs being approved and everything else, it just made sense that was as they call a psychological level for people. If where you got through that, it was like, oh, okay, right? It was on. And it turns out that at least this time I was right there.
You were right, man. And I remember your company Turnkey, you were talking about this a few years back when we were on Q&A together on NASDAQ, and ultimately when we first met. You're trying to get advisors like myself more in line with what our clients are doing and into their wallets, so we can see exactly what's going on with their crypto holdings.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about how that's coming a little bit, and then are we getting closer to the adoption where advisors have access to those wallets where we can connect them to our financial planning engines?
Yeah, so we have an integration now, which is live and being used by customers by all accounts through Morningstar. So any advisor watching this that uses by all accounts will be able to get access to that data. It's rolling out slowly. I think they pushed it out to 2 customers so far. So that's a huge win for me, because this is a personal problem I've had going back to 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So it was something that, for me, a sense of pride, because there were a few attempts before, and we actually got it done with the $13 billion company, right? Public companies. It's pretty cool when an idea in your head goes to that. So 2 examples of real life of why that matters. I spoke to an advisor yesterday who found out that his client has a $12 million account at Coinbase.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. But he can't see it. The client is like this on the phone. See it's like this, right? So that's not, as advisors, we can't do business like that. But if that advisor had turnkey, the client could just off in, bring that data back. Now it's in the advisor's platform. He can see the positions, right? He can see the cost basis. He can see all of that. He's just operating off of what the client is telling him. So that's a real life example of the opportunity for advisors to, one, grow relationships. Obviously, it turns out that position is just almost half the client's net worth.
Yeah.
Right. And also, it's an opportunity for advisors to have deeper client conversations around crypto without really having to know crypto. That's what we wanted to do. Strip away the crypto leads and just make it easy to go, oh, this is a taxable event, or, oh, you 12 million, there's probably some estate planning you need to talk about here. So just things like that, man. But it's going well. And then the other example is this morning, when your dev team is in India and you are on the West Coast, you get the benefit of having development calls at 5 a.m. Yeah. But we were going through some of the data, very early data that we're seeing. Mm-hmm. And I think advisors are going to be very shocked to see what some of their clients are holding away from them. So that was the whole purpose of it, man. And I think no matter how you feel about it, you should at least know what clients own.
Man, you're absolutely right. I mean, I can't tell you how many times on eMoney, when clients start connecting things, they have a JP Morgan here and a this, that, and there. You're like, come on, man. You got to start seeing all these things. And then, I think that eMoney is getting a little bit better at Coinbase, but I'm not really sure. I doubt it. I mean, their connections are always failing. You know how that stuff goes.
Yeah. Well, next time you got an issue, email them and be like, hey, have you heard about Turnkey?
Well, hey, man, I'll help you. I love to help you anytime, any way I can. So I recently read Number Go Up by Zeke Fox, and it scared the living hell out of me, man. I'm going to be honest with you. It scared the shit out of me. I'm sorry, but I was like, why do I own any of this stuff? This is fugazi. I don't want anything to do with this stuff. I literally was like really thinking about, like, should I just go in my Coinbase account and sell everything at this point? And then I knew that was kind of non-traditional. I mean, that's the psychological of human beings. They see something and they start running with it. I'm not sure if you read the book or not at this point, but
I've heard things and listened to podcasts, whatever, but have not picked up.
So there's a couple of points where they were talking about crypto bros, admittingly saying that this is Ponzi, we're doing this. So one thing I was saying is that I just don't understand. What scares me is that you have people like Sam Bankman-Fried, and you mentioned it once before. They gave this guy $250 billion and all this stuff, but they only gave $100 billion to all the black people that are trying to raise capital that same year. Like, how does this make sense? And these guys were FTX had a token, right? They had a token. Mm-hmm. Then they would just invent another token to collateralize, to bring more money to the FTX to basically back their company. Mm-hmm. That's what scares the hell out of me. They're just inventing stuff out of the thin air and then just collateralizing it and just basically making more money. And that's why I was like, I don't know if I trust any of this stuff, man. But my question for you is, like, I mean, I'm not saying you have to give me advice, but am I okay to trust where this thing is going? Because I understand the blockchain, but all the other stuff is what scares me.
So it's funny. I posted this yesterday on Twitter or X, and I will forever call it Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely.
That this time around, this cycle feels different because there's not manias so much as there's people saying, is it for real this time? Right? They kind of feel how you feel on the heels of Sam Bankman-Fried and Celsius and BlockFi and Genesis and da-dun.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Here's what I will tell you. I do this 24/7, 365. I'll do it for the last 10 years. I don't have those concerns. I never interacted with any of those platforms. I kept people away from them because I knew better.
Yeah.
And that's because I'm in it all the time. So we know where the pitfalls are.
Yeah.
But to be even more transparent, at 401, we had an FTX account.
Yeah.
Just opened it. And my partner, it was a Sunday, if I remember, it was a weekend. And he was like, hey, did you just see this on Twitter? And it was CZ talking about the FTT tokens. I said, move it. Took our money off that day and we moved it on chain. We took it off of FTX and we moved it on chain. You can only do that if you know what we know.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's very important, the education and being the shelling points, as they call it, right? The closer you are to what's happening, being in the know.
Yeah.
Right? That's important. So where you get information from, who you get information from, being able to distill that information, that is important. Right? And that is something that my barber has money caught up in Celsius. I feel bad, right? You cut my hair. Ask me before you do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I was very careful about that. Even, again, I've seen it all. With 10 years now, I've seen it all. It's really important that people stay home. Like, there are just certain things that you stay home. Don't veer out, because if you do, you don't have the expertise. You don't have the people that are telling you this, that, whatever. You can get hurt. The other thing I'll say is this weekend, again, I pay attention to everything involving crypto. There was a group on X, literally for hours. Like, folks, go read a book or take a walk. Touch grass, as they say. They're on Spaces.
Yeah.
Which is just a venue on Twitter for hours talking about how they're going to pump coins. That crap still exists, right? Which bothers me.
It scares the hell out of me.
Right. But, the stuff that they're talking about, right? All these weird coins and everything, these meme coins, that stay away from that stuff, right? So I think there's a lot of education to be had still. I think the animal spirits of, this is going up 1,000% or 2,000%. We know as advisors, like, y'all do know that's not normal. But it's not normal to us. It's normal to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're in a new world, man. And I think the best thing that people could do right now, if you don't know, ask someone that knows and keep asking questions, better questions, until you get better answers.
I got
and
you.
then I don't care who it is. It could be Jesus, Peter, Paul, Bartholomew, and all the disciples lined up. Don't take their word for it. Like, all right, listen, if you want to learn how to walk on water, you should learn from Jesus. But let me just go do some research just in case I drown. You know? So no matter who it is, me, whoever, don't listen. They said it. That's it. Ask questions. Ask, you understand? Oh, okay, I think I know what Tyrone is talking about. But let me do my own research. I think that's what people need to do here.
Man, well, I appreciate that, because that clarity, I literally read the book and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing owning this stuff. It seems like it's the tulips, right? It seems like it's all that stuff, man. But so let's kind of get off the crypto for a second and talk about what just came out last week, which was Wall Street shedding DEI. Of course, I'm unapologetically Black, and where my mind goes with all of this stuff. And again, I'm not being political, I'm apolitical, but the affirmative action and all this stuff. Well, I mean, when you look at it with the Supreme Court, the women and the black men and the people of color are affirmative action hires, right? So
Yeah.
we're speaking in two different languages there. But
Yep.
ultimately, in regards to DEI, um, they were talking about how people are feeling regarding um, said provisions and how the companies are feeling the strife of legal repercussions regarding, hey, well, people are coming back to us saying it's not fair. I want your opinion on what Wall Street's doing. I know you always have an opinion on this kind of stuff, and I love to hear what you
Oh,
got to say. But what are your thoughts? I mean, I'm not sure if you read the article in the FAIQ, but Wall Street shedding DEI. What's your opinion?
so I have very strong opinions about this that I've been talking about the whole time, which I'll share here, my updated opinions and thoughts. First is one of the things that stood out to me when the Wall Street Journal was writing about it was the white woman that said anonymously that she was worried about her son, what will happen to her son and his opportunities if these policies persist. I won't add any commentary to that. He'll be fine. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, let's go back to 2020.
Okay.
All the George Floyd, Black Lives Matter. Remember all that money that was donated by all of these companies? Where's that money going? All these financial companies that were changing their icons and, yes, we're going to do this, that. Where's that money gone? To me, it was always a false belief in what they were doing. They didn't mean it, and they didn't do anything after it. They were just afraid because they realized this could be a revolution. So they fell in line. And I think that's what's happening here. So from that article in Wall Street Journal and others, and what Wall Street is doing, and you're seeing it, and other industries are doing it. And then going back to 2020, where it was a lot of, again, there was issue with Black Lives Matter and then George Floyd. And then I got called to do a bunch of talks and speak to organizations and what do we do and how do we do it. And it was a lot of that. Kowtowing, right?
Yeah.
Shucking and jiving, right? They never meant it. So now let's go back to the original origins of diversity and inclusion in the workplace.
Okay.
Right? Part of that was simply because the establishment was uncomfortable working alongside folks who look like you and I. The data has shown, like you can look this up, those that benefited most from the DEI platform didn't look like me and you. It was white women. Cool. Now, why do I bring that up? Because I was saying as a black man, from every time I was asked, the diversity, equity, and inclusion movement was bull. Because no one could explain to me what the D, the E, and the I meant. And what I mean by that is, well, what do you mean by inclusive? Because if you hire me at an all-white firm, and then I walk in and I don't see any of myself, and I want to celebrate Kwanzaa, and I got one of the blackest names in existence,
Tyrone.
right? Like Kendrick said it, I'm blacker than the name Tyrone and Darius. It don't get no blacker than my name.
Yeah.
So if I'm included, am I really included? Right? Equity. Equitable equity. Right? Equity. I get the same exact shot as someone else. Same opportunity, right? Again, baseball game, I get the seats right up front. Right? Quality is, I'm just in the baseball stadium, but equity, I get the same seats as the executive. So equity, okay, fine. Now, if it's equitable, then that means that let meritocracy win out at that point. So what exactly are the type of individual that you're looking for We'll get to that in the D next. But equity, I get the same opportunity, same shot. And then at that point, if you want a meritocracy, may the best person win.
Mm-hmm.
But let me go against everybody else. And it will prove who's really the best. And let me say this. I've spent the majority of my life trying to get folks, and especially children in the inner cities, opportunities. You give some of those kids an equal shot. Good night.
Yeah.
Because they're hungry. And they're sharing a book for 40 students in the class. One book. Majority of the school got student lunch debt. The kids been up all night doing their homework on the cell phone. Get those kids the same resources and let's talk. But it's easy to say those, test scores and and the fathers out the homes. And okay, well, let's fix all that. And then let's see what happens. Let's move on to the D. Diversity. Define that for me. I gave this example 1,000 times. If you want to have these DEI initiatives, again, I've been literally unapologetic. I've never been a fan of it because it was a farce. Define diversity for me. Mm-hmm. Okay, what are you looking for? You should be, if you're really standing on it, we should say we're looking for a financial advisor. Well, what type? We're looking for a gay Hispanic woman. Cool. Go get 7 gay Hispanic women and give them a shot at the job. Not say, it's a diversity hire, so we're going to get 1. No, do the work to go find 7 of them with different skill sets that are high income, that are low income, that are tall, that are short, that are skinny, that are heavyweight, that are Ivy League, that went to a county school. That's diversity to me. Diversity within a group of an individual that you are primarily looking for. Why are you looking for that individual? Well, because based on where this firm sits, we want to ingratiate ourselves into the Hispanic community, and we want this type of individual. If you're really standing on it, do it that way. And then you go, okay. But when you just say, we're doing it till like the NFL. What? As long as you interview one minority coach, check box.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
This is, again, I can keep going, but if it's going to be diverse, and you could be diverse on this other spectrum of that too. How about you go and scout some young white males that's not at predominantly white colleges? How about in the community college circuit? How about, let's round up all of the young white males that attend historically black colleges. Let's go see those who have educated up to a bachelor's and no higher. Let's make a way similar to the 80s and 90s where those that were literally pumping gas got their Series 7 and the next thing you know was pitching stock and becoming multimillionaires. Long Island, Bronx, Brooklyn, right? Inner city Detroit, wherever. Mm-hmm. You can go anywhere and find these people. So you never meant it. And it should have never been about that, because you know as well as I do, right? We're both black men. We have different backgrounds. You know dudes that you know. I know dudes who grew up well-heeled, very successful family, this, that, whatever. I got a friend of mine, one of my best friends, the whole family, right? He got 3 brothers and a sister. Sister's a Harvard graduate lawyer. The 3 brothers and him are doctors. Mm-hmm. Ain't like that in my family. Right? Like, yeah. You know, we're both black men. Those are different experiences. So they didn't really mean it because you didn't define it. It was just a letter. So anyway, I'm going to shut up. But
no, man. Hey, I love your passion. I love your passion. And that's what I'm talking about. This is what this is all about. It's all about getting us out there, having an understanding. Thank you so much for that passion. Thank you so much for being on the 9 Innings podcast, my friend. That's what this is about, ladies and gentlemen. It's about understanding people, understanding values, understanding exactly what's really going on out there. And I really wanted to talk to my man Tyrone Ross today about what's been going on with this DEI thing. And I know he had a passionate soliloquy, I guess, or about this. And I just think that it's important to understand where everyone's coming from. It's not just from that white woman who said, "What about my son?" About, hey, you're bringing up these quote unquote disenfranchised people. How is that fair? And my thing was, well, now that you understand how it feels, maybe get some empathy, and then we can all come to the table and have a better solution. But until we all do that, it's woe is me. Yeah. Woe is me, man. So real quick, tell the people what you have coming up, whether it be on some speaking engagements, things like that, and shout out some of your handles.
Yeah, so a couple things, a lot of speaking engagements coming up. Man, so many lists now. I'll be at Consensus, which is the crypto prom, as I call it, in May, inside ETFs. Man, so many different things I'm working on. I can't mention much of it now, but I'm working on a really cool financial education platform for high school students with a company that I'm excited about. We're in talks now. And we are doing something really cool at 401 Financial that we're excited about, that we'll be launching later on this year. As far as make it easy for folks to onboard in the crypto space with education and resources. We have a workbook for women that we're putting out soon. And that's really it, man. There's a lot of things cooking, but for folks to follow me, obviously on LinkedIn, just put in my name, Tyrone V. Ross Jr. At Twitter or X, I'm TR401, where I spend a lot of my time when I'm not on LinkedIn. And I'm Tyrone 401 on IG.
Hey, man, appreciate the time today. Thank you so much for the insight. I love bringing you on, man. And again, we appreciate your time and what you had to talk about today.
I appreciate you, man. Enjoy what you were doing. Enjoy your push. And it takes a brave, solid individual to do what you're doing. And Godspeed. And I will be pushing for you. And you always know, if you need a brother in the fight, I got you, my man.
Thank you, my friend. Ladies and gentlemen, we had Tyrone Ross Jr. talking about DEI, talking about the crypto winter, talking about all things crypto, what he has going on. And I hope this has been a valuable episode, because this is serious. This is serious. This is what we're dealing with right now. Guys, thank you guys for listening to the 980s podcast. Subscribe to this channel. Go and get my book, MLB to CFP, live on Apple and Amazon. If you have any questions, info@9icapitalgroup.com, or go to the website at www.9icapitalgroup.com. You know what we're here to do: educate, empower, and engage. And today we talked about empowerment. We talked about crypto, and I hope it was a valuable use of your time. Stay humble, stay safe. I'll see you again soon.